Hello, sports fan, and welcome to the Packs for Breakfast. Packs for Breakfast. How can we miss you if you won't go away? Talk. Well, let me explain. So there was it's like some of these guys. There's a reason I titled it "How Can I Miss You Unless if You Don't Go Away." So this is mainly going to be about LeBron James and Aaron Rodgers. I just don't have any Aaron Rodgers cards, or otherwise he'd probably be up there instead of Steph Curry. Steph Curry's just one of those guys right now. I kind of feel like he might be holding on a little too long. He's the injuries I think are starting to pile up, and he's played a lot of games and he's been absolutely phenomenal. His whole career. But I think he's getting close to the end. The injuries just, I think are gonna maybe take some stuff away from him at the end of his career, and I really don't want to see him struggling. Because I want to remember him as one of the greatest shooters ever. Champion MVP. I want to remember him, as being one of the all-time greats. Like a guy like Jerry Rice who's over there. Jerry Rice hung on way too long. He just did. He hung on so long that it's like, the poor man was going bald. And I know, I'm a guy who's going bald myself. So it's like, I understand that it's like at one point in your life, you have a full head of hair. The next time you're just going, wow, it's like, I didn't know, it's like, it just loses in patches. But for poor Jerry, he used to have cornrows that would start in the back of the middle of his head. It was the weirdest thing. You have to find those pictures late in his career, but the cornrows started in the center of his head and went back. So it was really very weird to look at, but he was an old man trying to still play football way past where he probably should. He had definitely lost a step. And to see him, because he tried out for the Broncos because Mike Shanahan was here. And I remember he wore number 19 for the Broncos, and I wish I had bought a Jerry Rice number 19 jersey, because they did sell some. And I'm wishing back then I had bought it, because it would have been a nice keepsake to have one of the greatest wide receivers, to have him just on the roster, even if it was in preseason. But with Jerry, he had lost a step, and he even had to go to Mike Shanahan and say, if all I'm going to do is make this team out of basically pity and be the fifth wide receiver, just cut me, because I don't want to be there, be that guy. He had some, nice seasons in with the Raiders, but nothing compared to what he was as a Niner. Barry Bonds is a player I do miss. I do miss watching Barry Bonds. I got to see Barry Bonds play live here at Coors Field. I got to see him hit a home run, and when everybody else is booing, me and my buddy, we were cheering. We were so happy to get to see Barry Bonds hit a home run, because he was one of our all-time favorite players. I do miss watching Barry Bonds hit home runs. I don't care about the steroids. That is not something that I watch steroids save baseball, thanks to Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Baseball might not be, as prevalent. It might be the fourth most popular sport, if not for those two basically revitalizing it with their home run chase. And I also think that the MLB kind of turned a blind eye to steroids for that period of time, because they were trying to get baseball back. But unfortunately, it kind of hurt the legacies of Sosa, McGwire, Bonds, and many others that kind of got caught up in it. But I do miss Barry Bonds. I miss watching him. So, it's kind of one of those things. He played for a long time also. Towards the end, he struggled a little bit. But how can I miss you if you won't go away? Well, I miss Jerry Rice. I miss Barry Bonds. I would miss Steph Curry. Now, this brings me to two other guys. This brings me to LeBron James, and this brings me to Aaron Rodgers. LeBron James, before we get too out of hand, I'm not a LeBron James fan anymore. I used to be. I used to be a big LeBron James supporter. I just think that as he got older, he became more controlling. He became more, he became grumpier. He became, and it's just, getting old, you just don't tolerate stupid like you used to. So I think that a lot of dumb stuff that he saw go on around him, it's like when he's young, he just, just lets it, fall off his back. Well, now it just aggravates him a little bit. But I watched him. I rooted for him in Cleveland. I rooted for him when he went to the Heat. I was very happy for him to win those championships. And I do believe he is the second best player of all time. I am a Michael Jordan guy when it comes to who is the GOAT. But I don't want anybody to think that I do not believe that LeBron James is an elite basketball player and is probably the second best basketball. And I don't know why people think that being called the second best basketball player of all time is somehow an insult. When you're talking about the thousands of people that played, and this is a guy that I am not a fan of anymore, and I still believe that LeBron James is the second best basketball player to ever play the game. In his prime, he was unbelievably good. He's been to 10 championships, only won 4, and that's where the knock comes from. It's like, yeah, you go to a lot of championships, but you're not always, you don't win them all, and you've still won fewer than Michael Jordan. But he's been to a lot. But he's also gone to teams where he had to construct teams around him to get to championships. He went to Miami with Wade, with Bosh, went to titles. And like I said, a guy this good should not have he should have titles. He should have rings. A guy that is as great as LeBron James should have rings. He should have championships, and he does. And I'm very glad that he does, because a player like that should not go without. Then you have then he went back to Cleveland where Kyrie was, and I think Kevin Love came in there as well. Once again, another kind of big three, and then they won a championship in Cleveland. Once again, happy for Cleveland, happy for LeBron winning one in Cleveland, because I know that was something he really wanted to do. So I was very happy for them. But then the Laker thing happened. Now, I'm not a Laker hater. I love Showtime Lakers. I love Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Michael Cooper, AC Green, Dennis Scott, Kurt Rambis. I love those teams. Definitely root for them over the Birds Celtics. But I'm not a fan of the Lakers right now, because LeBron just kind of went there because he wanted to make contacts. He wanted to be closer to Hollywood. He's still an elite basketball player to a point, but watch him play now. This is why I say he needs to retire, but he won't. He'll be back next year. I'll guarantee that. But LeBron James, you can tell he only plays in spurts. Like, he'll run down the court and kind of just hang out at the three-point line, let everybody else kind of do their thing, and then he'll kind of go back on defense a little bit. He's not going to play tough defense. He hasn't for years. But then he'll, and like every third time down the court, he'll do something, because he's conserving his energy. He's in his 40s. He's conserving his energy. But what you saw in the playoffs is that doesn't work. That works in the regular season, and it's fine. But it doesn't work in the playoffs, because you've got to go balls to the wall all the time in the playoffs, because the intensity goes up to another level, and you cannot play regular season basketball in the playoffs. So you can't take those possessions off. And LeBron was not trying to take possessions off, but you could see they showed a thing where LeBron and, they showed where Luka Doncic and him, like Luka would have the ball and LeBron would kind of just be standing around. Then LeBron would have the ball and Luka would just be standing around. They don't really know how to play together. Maybe next year, or maybe it's the fact that one of them was resting because they're out of shape, and the other one's resting the other time because he's old. So, but this is definitely one of those things where it's like LeBron should retire because how can we miss you if you won't go away? I think LeBron's at the end of his career. He's definitely at the end of his career. I don't think they're going to win a championship with him and Luka Doncic. I think they need another big man like Anthony Davis that they got rid of. I think LeBron James was a better fit with Anthony Davis. They won a championship together. How do they not, how do you just give up on that? To me, Anthony Davis with LeBron James was a better fit, and then you try to find a third that plays in between them and complements them both very well. Reeves is not that guy, because Reeves doesn't play that good a defense either. You need kind of that, you would need a Scottie Pippen type is what you would need. Somebody that can play a little bit of offense, whole lot of defense, can give you 17 to 20 points a game and can lock down their best player. But, so LeBron, to me, second best player of all time. He can quit, but, his legacy is going to be, we're going to start noticing more of these cracks in the facade. He looks like he's in great shape, but you can tell that the age is catching up to him because his intensity and how much effort he can give on any given night is limited. And it's just time for him to go. I really wish he would retire this year, but he won't. I know he won't. He'll be back next season. I guarantee he'll be back. And the Lakers will get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, maybe the second if they're lucky. Maybe if they can find another guy, trade Reeves for somebody that's more complimentary. I don't know. But, as LeBron James has gotten older, he's gotten, more controlling, a lot like Aaron Rodgers, who is also in the news recently because he just went to the Pittsburgh Steelers finally. Now, this was something we all knew was coming. We knew he was going there. So, the thing is, I don't think he's going to help much. I think Aaron Rodgers is worse than LeBron James, way more manipulative, way more arrogant, way more elitist. I love this whole thing that he's going to come in and just, I'm coming in to be the mentor. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're telling everybody what they want to hear because that's what you always do. You're going to play the good citizen for a little bit, then something will make you mad, and you'll be right back to your arrogant self again. If Arthur Smith tries to call 3 runs in a row, I guarantee you're going to audible out of the last 2 and throw the football. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers at all. Do I think they'll have a bad season? No. Do I hope they'll have a bad season? No, because I like Tomlin. And the Pittsburgh organization is a pretty class organization. So, the fact that Aaron Rodgers and him are and the Steelers are together, it's kind of like that idea of, it's the last 2 people left at the dance that don't have a partner. And they don't really want to be partners with each other either. They're not really that excited to be partners. They've given each other nods across the room and they've had, little conversations here and there. But neither one, they're both kind of just lukewarm on each other. But they know that this is the only option. Aaron Rodgers isn't going anywhere else because nobody else wants to deal with this drama. And the Pittsburgh Steelers painted themselves into a corner by only having Mason Rudolph. Something to be said about maybe you should have drafted Shedeur Sanders. Even if you don't do it in the first, second, third round, you had the 4th. Would it have really been that bad to draft him in the 4th round? That's not a bad pick in that round. So to me, the Pittsburgh Steelers have made some bad decisions recently. So, and I think Aaron Rodgers is not a great decision. I think that realistically, 10-7 is possible for that team. But I also think a first round elimination from the playoffs is also going to happen again. If Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and you have to depend on Mason Rudolph, I'm not very confident in that. So basically, I wished Aaron Rodgers would retire. I really did, because I am really not an Aaron Rodgers fan. But once again, used to be. But it's funny, as he's gotten older and grumpier and more controlling and more elitist, believing that he's smarter than everybody else, it's like I've gotten to the point where it's like I just don't want you to be around football anymore. I would like for you to go on to the Pat McAfee show infinitely, because I don't watch that show, so I never have to see you again. And that'll make me just yippee skippy. So Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers, I still think 10-7 is possible. But we also thought 10-7 was possible with the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. And I think 4-13 is where they finished. So, but do I believe that the Steelers, with the very strong leadership and very strong coaching that they have? No. That's going to be the difference between the Jets and the Steelers. The reason I still think the Steelers will probably finish 10-7 is because of their coaching staff, because of the strength of Tomlin. I just believe they will still scrape out at 10-7. They won't win in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers just isn't that good anymore. He'll have a fine season. I think he'll probably still throw 30 touchdown passes, but I think he'll probably have maybe 14, 15 interceptions. He doesn't usually throw bad picks, but because towards the end of the game, he starts to play it a lot more conservative. So he doesn't make a lot of bad mistakes. His legacy is safe. Even if he's a total bust in Pittsburgh, his legacy's safe. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's one of the best of all time. But I could be very happy if he just left. If he gets into mini camp and training camp and he just decides, you know what, I was wrong. I don't want to do this anymore. And then he just quits. I'd be fine with it. He'd get to be the news story for a couple of days why he quit, and everybody will be doing their tributes to him and everything like that. So he'd get kind of his wish. I think this should be his farewell tour. I also think this should be LeBron's farewell tour, so that they can each get their rocking chairs from somebody and a motorcycle from somebody else and a guitar from somebody else. Because those are the gifts that everybody gives. Somebody's going to give him a motorcycle. Somebody's going to give him a guitar. Somebody's going to give him, just some of these, the rocking chair is a joke, usually a rival. I'm perfectly fine with if these two decided to make this their last rides and just get out of this and let's move on from them, because how can I miss you if you won't go away? And that's All Star for now.